Good afternoon. If we could work our way in, we'll go ahead and kick this thing off. First, we'll start with a word of prayer, so if you'll all bow your heads with me. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. We humbly ask and seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. Well, we'll call the meeting of the 99th annual meeting for the Garden City Co-op to order. So I welcome you to this annual meeting of the Garden City Co-op stockholders. As we begin our 100th year, we can only look back briefly before we look to the future and what it holds. The advancement of technology is changing how we farm, and we must look to those changes for the direction of the Garden City Co-op. The Co-op is here to support and help us with that direction. As always, we appreciate your participation and hope you enjoy the meeting. The Garden City Co-op bylaws require a quorum of 5% of the voting membership or 50% of the members entitled to vote, whichever is less. This afternoon, we have 219 members registered, and I declare that a quorum is present. The official notice of the annual meeting for the common stockholders of the Garden City Co-op was mailed November 19th, 2018, in accordance with the bylaws. I have a certification signed by an employee of the Garden City, Kansas Post Office that states 1,459 official notices were mailed out on November 19th, 2018. We'll now move on to the minutes. The minutes of the 2017 annual meeting were provided with the official notice of the Garden City Co-op website. I would ask that the minutes be approved as provided. Are there any questions or objections? If there are no objections or corrections, the minutes will be approved as provided. Now is kind of the fun part of the meeting. We would like to introduce any of the past board members. So if you're a past board member, if you would please stand. Thank you. Would any of the previous general managers that are in attendance today please stand? Thank you all for coming. I'll now turn it over to Jeff Gould.
Good afternoon. We've got several guests with us here today that I'd like to recognize. Rocky Bell with CHS, Jed Miller, also with CHS, Jeff Hires with Servitech, and also Randy Royal with Servitech, David Cornett, Bob Temple, and Jeff Huggard with Wind River Grain, Greg Johnson, Mitch Williams, and Todd Shepard with KFSA, Michael Walton with Coving, Brandy Miller with Kansas Co-op Council, Brad Cowan with Frontier Ag, Chris Urban with Bayer, Rusty Sherwood with Sublette Co-op, Grant Elvers with Wells Fargo's Advisors, Nick Muting with Lindbergh Vogel Pierce Ferris, Kyle Smith with FC Stone, Dave Strecker from Mineola Co-op, Jason Baker from Scott Co-op, and then also Tim Akins with Land O'Lakes. Thank you for your attendance, and if I missed anybody that didn't sign in as a guest, sorry about that. We'll move next to our audit report. We conducted our yearly audit in September, and I'll be presenting the financial results from September 2017 to August of 2018. We're going to start out on page 6 of your handout there that will have the statement of operations. As you'll see on there, our sales this year that we generated were higher than last year, which led us to have increased margins. Another item to point out was the storage income was down over $1 million as you sold your grain faster than you normally did versus last year. Our expenses were in line with last year as well, and just slightly down overall. So this overall generated earnings of $3,253,962. And you can see on the chart provided up on the screen how that relates to past years. The thing that stood out this year is what I would classify as quality of earnings. Last year we had a large non-traditional earnings, such as the recognition of CHS non-qualified patronage. And then we also had the sale of capital assets that we recognized from Western Transport. This year, our earnings were generated more by our ability to earn volumes and hold a fair margin. A reminder too, that our patronage is calculated on a tax basis instead of book. So the total allocations that you'll see for a patronage was greater than our book earnings, which is why you will see a negative retained earnings at the bottom of the sheet. Departmentally, within grain, we were surprised by the amount of wheat volume that we earned this year, especially considering the amount of moisture we had throughout its growing season. You did bring us a lot of bushels with very little rain. The wheat carry that's present in the futures market is also allowing us to utilize our storage and to carry wheat and earn that value to increase our inventory for sales. We've also this year held on to corn much longer than we normally do, and used that storage to sell later in the year to capture more of the basis opportunities. Within petroleum is a story of logistics and supply. We continue to struggle with the availability of diesel at the Scott City terminal. I think there's been more times that it has been out of diesel than it has had diesel available for us to pick up. This leads us to logistics challenges as we have to use other terminals such as McPherson. We've also experienced some regulatory changes from the Department of Transportation, such as hours of service and electronic logging devices, that increases our cost to haul that fuel. We do continue to use the storage that we have available to us at low to continue to preserve the supply for you as farmers, to make sure you have what you need, to make sure that you don't run out of product when you most need it. We also last year did not receive any CHS patronage in cash, and we were only allocated $100,000 in non-qualified equity from them. Moving to agronomy and precision ag. We do continue to grow in our volume and geography with our crop production products and services. Margins continue to be tough in this industry as there's continued consolidation. Precision ag continues to be the bright star, as it is strongly adopted on your farms. This year we did refine our focus to pre, in, and post-season tools and products, and the number of acres enrolled in this system is skyrocketing as we get whole farm adoption. We have jumped from just a few thousand acres enrolled to now over 148,000 acres enrolled in a very short time frame. Moving now to the balance sheet, which will be your next page, page 7. We continue to manage our balance sheet to preserve liquidity, service the debt that we have, and retire equity as we can. Working capital is our most important aspect of this. This year we did maintain our working capital while also paying down the debt that we are obligated to. We paid $700,000 in retirement of equity, and then we invested a little over $1 million in capital assets. Our working capital this year ended at a little over $13 million, which is in compliance with our bank covenants. You can see the chart up there that this is one of the higher years we've had recently for working capital. The equity retirement checks that we issued were for 1995 and a partial in 1996 equity year. Those checks were issued in mid-November, so you should have already received those, and if you had any deferred equity in those years. The major changes that you'll notice on our balance sheet is the increased inventory value due to carrying more grain, a higher seasonal note balance to finance that grain, and then 0 long-term leases. We've now paid off our Deerfield and Shields elevator expansions. Next, we'll move to our patronage rates. Grain this year was allocated at 13.15 cents per hundredweight, 12.96% on your grain storage, 2.184% on crop production purchases, and 3.58% on ag petroleum. We will pay out again 30% of this in cash, so we'll be sending out about a little over $1 million to the country this year. In regards to Section 199A, we will again be passing 100% of the DPAD deduction back to you as members. Those rates are calculated at 5.04% for your crop production purchases and 13.67 cents per hundredweight on the grain sales. Section 199 did have some changes this year due to the tax bills that were passed in Congress. So please make sure you consult with your accountants and tax advisors to best take advantage of this tax benefit. Next, I'll have Nick Muting with Limber Colville Pierce Ferris up to give the auditor's opinion. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nick Muting. I'm a shareholder with Limber Colville Pierce Ferris out of the Dodge City, Kansas office. And the reason for me being up here is I am the lead independent auditor on the Garden City Co-op audit. And kind of just to tell you a little bit about what we do, we provide a service where we go to your financial statements. We apply procedures to those financial statements. We look at your financials, your footnote disclosures to those financials, and we determine whether or not those are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Again, this year, as we have for many years prior to this, we are providing an unmodified opinion, also sometimes called a clean opinion, on the financial statements that you have. And this means essentially that we find no items that are material that would be needed to be modified in any sort of way. So if you have any questions of me, please feel free to ask me afterwards. On behalf of Limber Colville Pierce Ferris, I appreciate the opportunity to be your independent auditor. So thank you.
Starting to sound like a broken record, but good afternoon again. It's my honor and privilege to represent your board of directors for you today. First off, I'd like to introduce them, and so as I call your name, if you'll stand up and at least acknowledge. Our vice chair this year was Bill Mifflin. His wife, Donis. Spouses, if you're here, you can stand up too. Our secretary treasurer is Gordon Drees. His wife, Kelly. Our assistant secretary treasurer is Chris Fulmer. Then directors are Lynn Teeter, his wife Tracy, Clayton Maddox, his wife Sarah, Max Engler, his wife Catherine. Our associate directors this past year have been Curtis Ansel, his wife Emily, Nelson Ryder, his wife Karen, and Chris Boyd. Chris has completed, and his wife Kylie, sorry. And I'm Tyler Hands. My wife Amanda is teaching today, so she couldn't be here. Chris Boyd has completed his term as an associate director, and we will be hearing from him later in the meeting about his experience these last few years. At this time, I'd like to introduce our new associate member, Kyle Deaver, and his wife, Alicia, and their little baby, his son. It's been a very exciting time for your board of directors this past year. Rains have been wonderful, crops have been plentiful, but perhaps what is most exciting for us is the new hire of our CEO, Jeff Boyd. As many of you know, Jeff has been with the Garden City Co-op for many years and has served in virtually every department of the co-op and has a great deal of understanding. Jeff is a great communicator and can navigate with employees and patrons through issues perhaps better than previous predecessors have been able to do so. It's a little difficult for me to put this into words, so I thought I'd show you a little video on how this works. So please pay attention to the screens.
Do you struggle with understanding a coworker, family member, or friend? Do they seem to be speaking a foreign language? Your time is too valuable to be struggling with lingo you don't understand, weird acronyms that offer no explanation, and complex theories that seem to be going right over your head. You need Boyd Buds.
Technology has enabled us to grow not only in dollars and sales, but also geographically and still provide the same levels of service. Technology is an enabler for us to be able to provide the best service that we can.
Yes, with Boyd Buds' patented Insta-Translate technology paired with the McClellan Air app, farmers can now be able to understand agronomists. Accountants can understand their IT department. The grain department can understand petroleum. The staff can understand the management. Husbands can understand their wives. Baby boomers can understand their millennial coworkers, and so much more. Order during this commercial and you can receive our special TV offer of our Boyd Buds for 4 easy payments of $43.33 plus shipping and handling. Don't delay, call today. 1-800-794-9389. That's 1-800-794-9389. Call now. Boyd Buds is not a real product. This is a parody of a natural product on the market that will translate languages in real time. It's really impressive. I'm thinking about getting one for myself. But seriously, this device is not bridge to divide between political parties or fixed marriages. It's not a miracle work for people. This is a parody after all. Use responsibly.
I got the idea with the humor from our friends at KFSA, so Mitch, thank you. All kidding aside, John, we want to thank you for your leadership and your service to our co-op, and we appreciate the position you have put us in for the future. And Jeff, welcome aboard, and we're excited to see where Garden City Co-op heads in the future. Well, this last fiscal year, we have held 10 meetings with only 1 director absence and 2 associate absences. We represented you at different meetings such as KFSA and CoBank, Texas Co-op Council, neighboring cooperative annual meetings, and roundtable sessions with several of the nation's largest cooperatives. This is my very first address to you as a board member and chairman. It's very humbling to stand where so many great leaders have stood and represented you all as member owners. Most notably for me, my dad, Greg Haynes. As I began to write this speech, I wondered what I would talk about and how I would make it relevant to today's co-op in today's world. Cooperatives are special, and while they may not look different on the outside from a multinational or an independent, there is truly something special about each one. Your Garden City Co-op is no different. This is a company who, just like any other co-op, is owned by the members that it serves. But this is far from just a co-op. This is a family. Over the past year and a half, family has become more important to me, and you don't have to look very far to see that this co-op, this employee group, treats each member and owner as its family. They go out of their way and do everything possible to make us successful and keep us going in the field as fast as possible. We had another great year here at Garden City Co-op. The rains came, we planted our crops, we harvested the crops, and the Garden City Co-op was there to assist us in any way possible. As Jeff said, we have continued to grow the Garden City Co-op, and your board of directors continue to look to the future to help with management and decide where we will go. Our Precision Ag team is at the front of this change and is a leader in this success. With all this growth and continual change, we as your board have honored our commitment to you and have worked diligently to provide what we can to make you all successful while at the same time being able to return equity back to you. As Jeff said, by now, you all should have received checks for stock earned in all of '95 and part of '96. This, in my view, disproves the myth that you have to die to get your stock. In fact, I contend that you receive dividends in your stock every day because of the investment that we all have made in our infrastructure. Your board of directors has been able to do all this while maintaining a very strong balance sheet, as you just saw moments ago. As within a family, this company boils down to the people that are involved. We are successful because of the farmers who developed it, the management team who implements it, and the employees who carry out the hard work. We are successful farmers because of what the group of individuals has done for us. We owe a great deal of gratitude to those who have came forward, shouldered their responsibility, and chose to work for the owners, which is us farmers. We need each other to be successful. That's what makes a co-op great. We own our own company, and together we are strong. A past board member once said, "The co-op is an extension of his business." That couldn't be truer. It only makes sense to do business for the company we own, and one that we can help guide in the direction that we wish to take it. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to serve on your board. It has been a rewarding challenge and one that I am very humbled to have this experience. I also want to thank the board of directors for having faith in me to lead you through this past year. We're all a team, and I truly consider each and every one part of my family. Thank you, God bless you all, and Merry Christmas.
Welcome again to the 99th annual meeting of the Garden City Co-op. Today I want to speak to you about changes and transitions. There's been a lot of changes over the 99-year existence of this company. This co-op was incorporated for the second time in the state of Kansas on August 15th of 1919. It was started with the elevator bought in Garden City from J.E. Kirk with a 10,000 bushel capacity for $10,750. Since then, we have operated in many different business lines. We have sold coal. We've operated hay mills. We've owned feedlots. We've had feed mills and hardware stores, to name a few. All of these ventures were to great value for the member farmers at those times. The challenges we face today are very similar to the challenges faced almost 100 years ago. Market power, regulation, tax laws, technology disruption. Technology disruption isn't new, but I do believe that the pace for radical change is faster. With almost 100 years of existence, this company has seen a lot of changes and transitions. Through these changes, we have to focus on what is most important to the farmer. We have to continue to look forward and understand more changes will occur. In this coming year, we will be celebrating our 100th anniversary. Trevor Hands has prepared a video, and I'd like to show it to you to kick off our 100-year celebration and also officially unveil our centennial logo. Thank you, Trevor, for your creation. We're still here to create value for you today in the businesses that we operate. Creating value for your farms is important to me. We thank you for your business and we appreciate it. We understand that we have to continue to earn your business as well. Each farm sees Garden City Co-op's farms differently, and none of your farms are the same. We have to operate our business in a way that provides value in each of those different unique situations. The way that I judge value is that the products we offer you have to work. The services that we provide to you have to meet your needs. The personnel that we employ have to have a good knowledge of your operations. And we have to be seen as a company that is integral to your farms. We have to accomplish this while being competitive on price, being timely, and being flexible to do business with. One of those points highlighted in the video besides the technology was succession. Succession planning within your co-op and in your farms is important and constant. I appreciate the opportunity given to me by your board to be your next general manager. I also want to thank John for your leadership in preparing me for this role. We've had a few retirements over the last few years within your co-op, and that's allowing for new leadership in many areas. The focus that your board has placed on succession planning has helped these transitions be smooth and keep your co-op evolving with the changes in production agriculture. Succession planning is important for your farms as well. I would encourage you to spend time thinking about this serious subject and how it relates to your operation. I recently seen data published by CHS that shows that the average age of a farmer today is 58.3 years old. 8% of those farmers can be classified as millennials, and 6% as women. The demographics of farming are changing, and your co-op is changing with it. We are seeing more sons and daughters coming back to the farms and being involved in that decision-making process. This is encouraging to see new generations coming back in and being involved with production agriculture. Training and education is important as well as new people become involved in agriculture. And it's going to be an area I will focus on as well within your co-op. As Otis Moles once said, we need to keep teaching this passing parade about our co-op and the things that makes it different than other ag retailers. One of the things that does make us different is that technology use and adoption will continue to be a focus for us. Farming continues to be driven by technology advancements. People and business processes have to be aligned and are critical to technology being a benefit and not a distraction. We've learned this, and we knew we had to be good internally with our processes before we could roll anything out externally. One other area that you'll see more focus from us is a solid alignment of our grain and agronomy teams to accomplish your goals on your farms. Lower grain prices and trade wars means economics of grain and agronomy inputs are more important than ever. There are opportunities to lock in profitable margin of grain and agronomy with proper planning of those inputs and outputs together. So we will put more emphasis on budgeting, crop plans, and ensuring we have good grain marketing plans in place to offset the cost of those inputs at profitable levels. This co-op gets paid in the bushels of grain that we earn from your farm. We want to continue to see your farms be financially strong because strong farms create a solid, strong co-op. The changes in agriculture aren't always clear or easy. So if you have questions or concerns, we want that constructive feedback. We also ask that you seek out the appropriate personnel that can truly answer and solve your problem. So what other additional changes do I see coming in the future? A list of things that are important to your co-op to provide more value to the farm are the ability to market your grain online from any device at any time, while still following the risk management practices of your co-op. We want to help facilitate to be easier to do business with such things as electronic signatures for contracts and other documents. We'll continue to expand on the precision ag software and integrate it and use tools like Winfield United's R7 and make that more seamless and accessible. Our website will continue to evolve as well and give you more features such as an online input costs or input price purchasing. We'll be introducing a new app in the future that will let you view your grain tickets as soon as you leave that elevator electronically. You'll also be able to see current dump times at elevators. We know also that we have to continue to increase speed and space for grain harvest. We continue to experience larger harvests each year, and in certain areas, more pressure due to increased production and things such as feedlots taking less wet grain during harvest. We do know and understand that your trucks have to get back to the fields quicker. This year we did invest in new bunkers and stackers at a few locations to help give us some more of those space options and speed. We want to have that space as well, help reduce the amount of transfers we have to execute on, and a less quick ship with unpredictable grain margins. That was the issues that we experienced this fall harvest, and the difficulties with having no export market for milo. The inability to economically ship milo for export forced us to have some tight spaces in such areas such as Tennis. We hope these trade issues can be resolved quickly and effectively so that the milo market can open back up with China so that we can move grain. Finally, we have to stay true to our business model. We have to stay financially strong to allow for that patronage and equity retirement. The one known constant in this world is change, and the optimist in me sees that as an opportunity. I look forward to leading into the 100th year of your co-op. We know to last for another 100 years, we have to provide valuable products and services as a holistic co-op to your farm. We thank you for your support and business, and we will keep working to create more value for your farm. Thank you. One of the areas that allows us to operate well is our employee group. That employee group is also what made me feel comfortable accepting this position as a general manager, knowing we have a good staff to work with. So I'd like to recognize that staff. So if any co-op employees would please stand and be recognized. Thank you. This is also a good time where we get to recognize the years of service for those employees. I get the privilege of this year of first handing out a 30-year pin. So would Daniel Hines please come forward? Through Sullivan Grain and now the Garden City Co-op, Daniel's been with us for 30 years. Daniel has been at the Hickok elevator, Rock Island elevator, and is now at the Ulysses elevator. Thank you, Daniel. Next up, I have Joe Varela for 15 years. Joe's taken another good path through the co-op. Joe originally worked at our Country Corner C-stores and then went to Petroleum, is now, he previously managed the Wolf elevator and is now an area supervisor for 4 elevators. So thank you, Joe. Next, Kyle Korf. Kyle's clear in the back. Kyle is one of our agronomists within crop production, and Kyle's been with us for 10 years now. Kyle works out of our Lowe office and helps take care of your guys' farms and all the needs and fun dealings with all these resistant weeds. So thank you, Kyle. Next, we have a bunch of 5-year pins. So I'll ask all of you guys to come up here and then we'll hand them out. Herman Hernandez, Deanne Unruh, Trevor Witt, Jenna Davis, Trevor Hands, Luis Castillo, Lakin Dreiling, Tiffany Harmon, and Eric Conrad. So Herman looks like you're first in the list here. So Herman's been with us now for 5 years. Herman manages our Amy elevator up in the Dighton area. He takes a good care of taking your guys' mile over. Next up, Lakin Dryland. Lakin has been with us 5 years. He's currently our Vice President of Petroleum. Lakin started in petroleum and then moved over into precision ag and helped us get our precision ag program off the ground and running. And then we moved him back into the petroleum VP on Pete Mastis' retirement. So thank you, Lakin. Next is Luis Castillo. Luis is a manager at our Gano elevator, was at previously at Pierceville. And so we thank Luis because this year he took a record corn harvest at Gano, the biggest corn harvest we've ever had. So thank you, Luis. Next up, Trevor Witt. Trevor's also been with us for 5 years. Trevor's another one of our sales agronomists within crop production, helping taking care of all the problems and recommendations we have in agronomy. And Trevor works out of our Plymell office at the Plymell crop production facility. So thanks, Trevor. Next is Deanne Unruh. So Deanne is kind of one of those behind the scenes people that you don't always get to see. Deanne has started within some of our crop production accounting, and now she's in charge of our procurement within agronomy, and she helps deal with all the reps for chemicals, and then also she gets the fun deal of tracking all of our chemical rebates, and you know how fun and a pain chemical rebates are, so thank you, Deanne. Next is Tiffany Harmon. Tiffany Harmon is in our safety department and helps with all of our food safety and QA practices. So as we make sure we have good grain, we don't have mycotoxin problems, those kinds of things, Tiffany's the one that helps run all that and does all the testing. So thank you, Tiffany. Next is Jenna Davis. Jenna is one of our accountants up in our Dighton office. So she's responsible and helps you guys with all your grain splits, grain divisions, rights, grain checks. Then on top of that, she helps with all the crop production billing. So whether it's being done out of the Ulysses area, Plymell, Low, Dighton area, Jenna's the one that helps us with all that billing. So thanks, Jenna. So yeah, next is Trevor Hands, and I think we all know what Trevor does and all the quality of Trevor's work, and we appreciate all the creativity and capability you gave us in video and communication. And Trevor's also been helping us as we migrated our website and has kind of taken over a lot of that project and managed that, plus all of our social media feeds. So thanks, Trevor. Finally, on a 5-year, Eric Conradi. Eric is another of our agronomists who started with us 5 years ago and works out of our Plymell area, but covers a large area around the whole garden and east and west of our territory. So thank you, Eric. Next, we have a few retirements I want to acknowledge. This year, Cindy Galloway and Cindy Becker are going to both retire from our company at the end of December. Can both of you come up here? You're hiding. So Cindy Becker is one of our lead grain accountants. Cindy started actually as accounts payable for us and has been with us now for 12 years. She helped us develop all of our process controls and documentation, and she's really good at asking, why do we do it this way? So that's a good question to be asking, and so she's always led us down that road to make sure we were doing what we needed to be doing. So thank you, Cindy, and congratulations on retirement. Next, Cindy number 2, Cindy Galloway. Cindy has been with the Garden City Co-op and then previously Sullivan Grain for 27 years now. So Cindy works out of the Ulysses office and is one of those that really cares about making sure your grain is correct and in the right account and the splits are done correctly and that the checks are wrote accurately. So we're going to miss you, Cindy. Thank you for all your work. And then I've got one more retirement to announce, obviously. It's John McClellan. So if John, you would come up. John also receives his 15-year PIN this year. Technically, it's 18 years, I believe, because of his first stint with the Garden City Co-op, but as general manager, he was here for 15 years. Obviously, John has led us to this point where we are today, and we care about a lot of things because of John's initiatives. Again, I appreciate everything John has done for me and leading me through my career and giving me the opportunities that I had to get to where I am also, where I am now. So, thank you, John. Enjoy retirement. You can always come back whenever you want. And we appreciate all the work you did do for us. Thank you.
You're not- Hey, you're not done yet. Get back up here. So we couldn't let him get off the hook without handing out some presents, because he's pretty good at doing that too. So in your retirement, we've got you a few things that you might be able to put to good use. So there's your first one. Just in case you're sitting on your back porch and you're needing something to do, you got to have something to put them in.
Wow.
And there might have a few other things in there too. Yeah, it might be. And then on the more humorous side, because that's the way I am, got you a shirt to wear around in your retirement too. So if you could take that out. It says, retired, off to be a cowboy, horse was not given options. From the board again, thanks for everything you've done for us. We appreciate it. Happy retirement. Okay, we will now move on to a nominating committee report from Tom Mulville. Tom?
The nominating committee this year consisted of me and Tim Miller. There are 2 positions open this year, and the candidates are Tyler Hands and Gordon Dries, and they both are currently serving as directors.
Thank you, Tom. Before we go into election of directors, we'd like we'd like to have Chris Boyd come up and give his report on his experience as an associate director. So Chris?
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Boyd, and I farm with my parents northeast of Garden. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to serve on the board as an associate. There's a lot of things that go on in the co-op that a lot of us don't see, and being on the board was kind of eye-opening experience. Seeing how much that they go through on a daily basis, trying to keep us moving through the field and getting the grain in is pretty amazing. And it's been fun getting to see all the change that's been going on in the co-op, and a privilege to have a voice on where that's going. And I thank you all for that opportunity.
Thank you, Chris. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you on the board, and we look forward to your future service as a director. We'll move on now to the director elections. As Tom said, there are 2 spots available, Gordon Dries and myself. Are there any nominations from the floor? Nominations from the floor. Seeing none, I'll ask for a unanimous consent. It's been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded for unanimous consent. Gordon and I will be honored to serve you for 3 more years. Thank you. We will now move into old and new business, and seeing no old or new business brought before the board prior to the meeting, we will go ahead and move on to the question and answer period. So if you have any questions, we will try to answer. We have microphones in the back. If we can get a couple people, maybe staffers, to move those around, that would be great. Any questions? Don't hammer us too hard, we'll try. Anybody got anything? Don't ask us what the weather does, because we don't. Well, if there's no questions, that's going to make this meeting a little shorter and a little easier on Jeff and I, so we appreciate that. So I will now turn it over to Gordon Dries for the fun part of the meeting, and Gordon gets to give away some goodies.
All right. First number is 557-459. All right. Yeah, can we call your number? Would you come on up here, please? What was the number? Next number, 557-385. Five 396. Five 396. Five 374. Five 457. 457. Keep going. 557-423. Okay, last one. 557-274. Okay, we have our 5 winners for the $1,000 stock redemption. You're welcome.
If you 5 will come by the office, we'll be sure to get you your money. That concludes the 99th annual meeting for your Garden City Co-op. We thank you all for coming and participating. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a safe rest of your year. Merry Christmas and God bless.